What's going on, Flightfam? This is your captain speaking, and welcome back to Flight 48. Now, in the last video, well, I'll let this little montage speak for itself. And yes, all good things must come to an end, so we are at the finale of the Qatari Chronicles. Now, to be honest with you, this part to me hit home in many different ways, especially for the fact of the personal matter that came up a few months before, and I will get into that a little bit later on, so just bear with me for a little bit. But I will have to say, looking back on this day, I was already up for over 24 hours. I remember when fellow flight reviewer Paul Lucas said that around 6 a.m. the lounge starts getting crowded, and it is starting to get packed in here. I've been here since God knows when, I think 11 at night from yesterday. It's Friday now. So I'm getting ready to walk around Hamad International. Exit this way?
Exit this way.
Okay, thank you. That way, right? Okay, thank you. No doubt about it, the Al Morjan Lounge is a very luxurious space. But it is starting, wow, it is starting to get packed in here. Even looking over at security, it's getting really, really packed. Alright, time to look for my flight. Let me just get out of here. That thing creeps me out so much. Flight boards in about an hour and 15 minutes from now. I'm normally there well before boarding even begins. So our gate is C93. So more than likely, I'm gonna take that train that I wasn't able to take back in October 2021 just due to COVID. I believe it's open because I've seen a few times people riding on it. So let's just head over to that shuttle, because I'm all the way at I'm all the way at C14. No, I think I'm much lower than that. Yeah, we're taking the train. I was right when I said that I'm much lower. I'm actually at C1. So, and no, there's not 93 gates here. So, I'm not too sure about C93, but we'll see. Let's see, C17, C43. So C17, C43. Oh. So where's C93? Oh boy. All right, let's look for a departure board. So where is C93? So it is C93. I know I wasn't going crazy. T80 to 93. I have a funny feeling this is gonna be another bus gate. Oh God. And bus gate it was. I'll be damned. Oh man, this is just one gripe that I have with Qatar Airways. I just can't stand the fact that there's so much gate space at Doha Hamad International. For the fact that they grouped a lot of flights heading over to Northern Africa and even West Africa, especially Nigeria, in that area alone was just a huge recipe for chaos and bedlam. Chaos and bedlam aside, there was one thing that I was absolutely dreading. Now, I have flown hundreds of times, and there's one thing that I love, and that's the window seat. And I was actually dreading this flight a week before my original departure from New York. When I looked at the seating map, once it was time for me to check in, I didn't see any window seats available.
With most air carriers, it doesn't matter if you're flying in economy or if you're flying in a premium cabin. Chances are, if you want a seating arrangement, you will have to pay a premium in order for you to receive that seating arrangement. Honestly, that is something that I don't like. But you can get the seating arrangement for free, but that's when you check in 24 hours before your flight departs. So let's do some addition. Chaos plus bedlam plus bulkhead seat. Yeah, I wasn't in a good mood. Oh, with the addition of not sleeping for more than 24 hours. I wasn't in a good mood at all. But, like Ma always told me when I was younger, if you want something, don't hesitate to ask for it. Plus, be a gentleman when doing so. So when the gate agent arrived, I felt like it didn't hurt to ask if there were any window seats available. And I got a cold no. But there was just something in my heart that was telling me, he may have told you no, but just wait until you get to the aircraft. So once boarding began, there was another hiccup. There wasn't a business class bus that could take business class passengers over to the aircraft. This is something that Qatar Airways does, and it is a nice added touch. So the gate agent politely told us that there weren't any business class buses available, so they were actually trying to look for one for us. After the last economy class bus, which actually had the last economy class passenger on it, then our bus turned up about 5 minutes later. From the terminal to the aircraft, it took roughly 20 minutes to get there because there was a little bit of traffic on the ramp and our aircraft was a good distance away from the terminal. In fact, the aircraft was literally at a remote stand near the end of runway 34. So while we're on this journey, I feel like it's time for me to tell you what the personal situation that I referenced in part 1 was. A few days after I posted the United Polaris video, the mother figure of my life, my great-grandmother, she passed away. And that was a day before her birthday. And she was the one person that got me into aviation from one little story that I could tell you guys. So I remember we were going to St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands in the year of 2000. And we were in an American Airlines A300 and I was sitting in the window seat as always. She always wanted me to sit in the window seat because I was so fascinated by these aircraft. So when I was looking out the window, we were right by runway 31 left. And I see this majestic white aircraft lining up. And I turned over and I said, Ma, what aircraft is that? So she just looked out the window and she said, oh, that's Concorde. And literally once she said that, all I hear is an immense roar of the engines. And that's what got me into aviation. And even aircraft such as the 747 and, of course, one of my childhood aircrafts that I've flown many times, the Boeing 757. So when you lose a parental figure, someone who was a huge part of your life and your upbringing, it's never easy. And I can't tell you how many times I've recorded and re-recorded and re-recorded and stumbled and teared up just by this one section alone. And I'm also thinking about a few of my close friends who have also lost very close loved ones this year alone. And what I will say next isn't just for me, but it's for all of us. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return." But once you have felt love, and the love of a parental figure, the love of our loved ones, the love of the people that we cherish, we will always long for them to be here, but they will always be with us, within our hearts, within our minds, and within our souls. And it is through that life that we have within us that not just their memory live on, but they too continue to live within us each and every day. It's so amazing how things that we remember as children could carry into how we are as adults. And yes, one of those things is the window seat. So when I finally got to the beautiful looking Boeing 787-8, I looked up the stairs and I said, you know what? There is one thing that Ma always told me. Just because someone tells you no doesn't mean that it's a definitive no. Anything's achievable as long as you put your mind to it. So as I climbed the stairs, I was greeted by a very kind FA. I told her what my seat was and she showed me to my seat. Then it hit me. Why don't I ask the FA if they have any open seats by looking through the passenger manifest? Just watch what happens.
We got a window seat. Awesome. We got a window seat. Oh, I feel a lot better. I got a window seat.
Oh yeah, you're very good. I'll just put all your stuff.
Oh, thank you so much. That really woke me up. I was getting ready to fall asleep.
Welcome beverage. We have fresh oranges, signature blankets, lava, and photo champagne as well. Champagne blue or rosé?
Rosé.
Rosé.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know about you, but I do believe in God. And that moment on, I just prayed and I looked up and I just looked out the window and I just looked up in the sky and I said, thanks, Ma. And I said a short little prayer, but I love you, Ma. And yes, I decided to revel in a little bit more of that Laurent Perrier Sylvie Rosé Champagne. And if my French pronunciation isn't up to par, I really do apologize about that, and I will not decide to apologize in French like I did in the first video. Yeah, I know that was pretty cringe. And I was so excited that I just couldn't contain myself, so I just decided to start filming the ins and outs of this seat. Now, this seat is one of the older versions of Qatar Airways business class, and it's the Collins Aerospace Super Diamond seat. And this is the type of seat that you would see on some older Airbus A350-900s, all of their Boeing 787-8s, and the Airbus A380. So now, let's get into a little bit of a seat tour. And the seat isn't a suite, but it is sweet. On your lower right hand side, you will find a lot of storage space. Next to that, you will have a universal power outlet, and separate from that, a USB socket. Since I switched to seat 1K, next to my right shoulder will be the amenity kit, which was there when I arrived, a small little bottle of water, and an area where you would find the safety cards. You can technically place a nice sized tablet in there. To your left, you will also find another small storage space, but guess what? It doubles as another armrest. To access the tray table, all you need to do, press on a little metal tab right under the table, pull the table right towards you, and unfold the smaller portion of the table, and voila. And it looks like we're starting to push back, so let me give you a little bit of information about this beautiful bird, the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. This morning's flight will be operating as QR 1405. Today's registration will be flown on Alpha 7-Bravo Charlie India, a 9-year-old Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. And now as we're taxiing under a beautiful and hazy Doha sky, I'll turn on the fasten seatbelt sign and allow you to see this beautiful departure on runway 34 at Doha's Hamad International Airport. isn't it a beautiful morning for flying? Right after takeoff, we made a left turn over northern Qatar, then over Bahrain, before entering Saudi Arabia over Dammam. From there, we headed southwest, flying over Riyadh, then Jeddah, before flying over the Red Sea. After crossing the Red Sea, we finally hit the continent of Africa, flying over our first country, Sudan, then Chad, then a small piece of Cameroon, then Chad again, then Cameroon again, before entering Nigeria over Adamawa State. Once we reached the end of Kogi State, we started our initial descent, descending over Edo, Ekiti, Ondo, and Ogun State. From there, we made a left turn before making our final descent over Ageje and Ikeja before touching down at Lagos Murtala Muhammad International Airport. The total flight time on today's flight is 7 hours 18 minutes, cruising at 38, 39, and 40,000 feet. Since we're at cruising altitude, I'll turn off the fasten seatbelt sign, but let's take a little look inside of this beautiful amenity kit. It was presented with this stylish leather bag and I still use it today. However, just to save us a little bit of time, the contents inside was very similar to the same amenity kit that I received 15 hours before on my Q-Suite flight. Only difference is there was an additional tester size bottle of Diptyque fragrance, and I'm gonna be honest, it's actually pretty good. Now, the infotainment system is pretty similar to my last flight on the Airbus A350, so there's more than enough content to keep you busy throughout the flight. However, there is a little bit of false advertisement here. Since the 787s aren't equipped with an outside camera, the camera view option isn't available. Instead, you'll get a little bit more information about the 787. But if you love the window seat like me, you don't need to worry about someone putting down their window shades. The Boeing 787 series from the 787-8, 9, and 10 all have dimmable windows. And as a side note, it's the first commercial aircraft to actually equip this system. Even though I was absolutely tired, I still decided to take the option of having my meal service right after takeoff. So this was roughly in the time period when we were getting ready to enter Saudi Arabia. And of course, it started with warm nuts, and I decided to get some wine to go along with it. 10 minutes later, the palate cleanser arrived, and I believe it was salmon with a little bit of rice and I would say a mango salsa of some sort. It was very delicious. Just before my appetizer arrived, I did get another glass of Chardonnay. Yes, I love Chardonnay so much, but don't worry, I will definitely change my palate because I do like other wines as well. Next up was a very interesting appetizer. It was seared curry scallops and prawns with heirloom tomato, compressed melon, dragon fruit, and cream cheese. Yeah, it was good. The prawns were pretty good. The scallops was good too, but the vegetables on the other hand, they kinda tasted like they were sitting out for a day. But since I like seafood, it was a really good try. And now, it's time for the main course. Pan-seared dill salmon with Asian smoked pepper sauce. So it came along with saffron coriander, pumpkin mash, and blanched vegetables. The vegetables were bland, I'll just get that out of the way. But the pumpkin mash and the salmon was absolutely delicious. And after the meal service, I was absolutely beyond tired. So,
let me take a small little nap because I haven't slept in hours. I'll see you guys later.
And once I woke up, the very kind FA asked me if I would like a little snack. So, I opted with a starter of coffee. And if you know me, I love coffee. And it came with a nice, lovely little packet of biscuits. But 10 minutes after that, she said it was brunch, but this was more than brunch. This was a smorgasbord. And on the menu, it's listed under light options. I'm going to be honest with you, this wasn't a light option, this was a heavy option. And please don't take my enthusiasm as a complaint, but wow. And this is what it states in the menu. Enjoy our platter with 6 tasting portions designed to stimulate your taste buds and satisfy your cravings. And the contents within this around the world in 80 days platter, we have tropical fruits, an olive brioche pulled beef sandwich, seared tuna tataki, a lamb rogan josh pie, a vegetable omelet with homemade veal sausage, and a raisin almond Danish. Now you might be questioning yourself, did I finish it all? I feel guilty for saying this, but no, I just couldn't finish all of that at all. I was already full from the earlier meal service. So I ate whatever I could, but it was beautifully presented and I really like how diverse the brunch platter was. It was a really nice touch. So after the meal service, I decided to open up something that I did get in Doha. Now, I tried to get something from my travels, like a different type of souvenir, so something different than a keychain. So this souvenir is something that I actually use every day, and that is a portable battery pack. And of course, it had Qatar on it. And honestly, I couldn't resist. Plus, it was $20. Once we started our descent, we started receiving cold towels, and I'll get into how much I paid for this flight. So this flight was paid out of pocket, but I wanted to see how I can get it for a cheaper price by paying out of pocket. I didn't have any status with Qatar Airways. However, I used Surfshark VPN in order for me to get this flight at a cheaper price. No, this isn't sponsored, but this is a cool little trick in order for you to get cheaper flights no matter where you want to go. And I had a few options. I had Delta Airlines, Air France, KLM, and British Airways. Those were 4 airlines that I definitely wanted to try. However, even when turning on the VPN, the fares were pretty high, ranging from anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000. Now, before turning on the VPN with Qatar Airways, this flight was priced at $3,000. However, when I turned on the VPN, the price went down to $1,600 for my business class trip going to Nigeria. Coming back in economy, it was around $600, bringing it to a grand total of $2,200. So yeah, just do the cost savings comparison. We saved just roughly $1,000 on this trip. And to be honest, flying in Q Suite, then having a 15-hour layover plus another 7-hour flight, the price for this is actually a steal. And if you have mileage or Avios that you can use to redeem on getting a flight like this, then you're definitely saving thousands of dollars on this. And the reason why I like sharing this information is because a lot of people are curious and they're interested in traveling, and I always implore people to go out and travel and see the world. And if you do want to travel with a little bit of luxury, just know you don't have to spend a fortune in order for you to do so. And wow, we're here. I didn't even notice because of how foggy the window was. And plus, that only shows how humid it is here in Nigeria. But we done trek and we finally made it. Welcome to Lagos Murtala Mohammed International Airport, where the local time is 1:34 p.m. This also concludes this series of the Qatari Chronicles. So what did you think of the series? Do you think that Q Suite is the best business class in the world? Would you stay over in a layover that's more than 15 hours? And do you have any memorable moments in your childhood with aviation or any passion that you have? Post your comments down below. And I would like to take the time to thank you for watching the Qatari Chronicles. Thank you for watching another installment of Flight 4080. And as always, you can do anything that you want as long as you put your mind to it. So always remember to keep climbing.